Hello everyone. Again, welcome to my house. This week we are focusing on the theme of acceptance. Part of acceptance is understanding and knowing that no two people are alike. That means that we come from a lot of differences. That may mean that we have different backgrounds, that we have different beliefs, that we have different abilities. Also understanding that we all come from different households and we have different types of families. And guess what? That's okay. It is okay to have a variety of differences. And part of acceptance, again, is knowing and understanding that our friends and our peers all may have these differences, but we like them anyway, right? As part of that, and part of understanding what acceptance means, we are going to be reading a story today. The story that I'll be reading to you today is about the Sneetches. During my story, I would like if you would pause at certain points and discuss with your families about the meaning of acceptance and how that's relayed in the story of the Sneetches. We're going to learn real quickly that these Sneetches have decided to separate themselves, and they make it seem like one way is the way to be, and that if you're not that way, that you don't belong in their group. And that's not okay. That's not what we want. We want to have that acceptance. We want to respect the fact that people are different, or these Sneetches are different, and that they might have really great personalities that make them someone that we want to be around. But in this story, they're focusing more solely on looks. So without further ado, here we go. The Sneetches. Now, the Starbelly Sneetches had bellies with stars. The Plainbelly Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. So you can see in this picture, you have the one Sneetch that has the star on his belly, and I want you to talk about how does he look in this picture? And then look at the Sneetch that has no star on his belly. How does he look? How do you think he's feeling? But because they had stars, all the Starbelly Sneetches would brag. We're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches. With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. We'll have nothing to do with the Plainbelly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. What do you think about that? Is that appropriate to just walk by someone because they don't have a star upon their belly and ignore them? When the Starbelly children went out to play ball, could a Plainbelly get in the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars, and the Plainbelly children had none upon theirs. I want you to think about if you were those kids on the playground and you wanted to play with some kids that were playing with the ball and they told you you couldn't play with them because you were wearing a red shirt. I want you to think about how that would make you feel. When the Starbelly Sneetches had Frankfurter roasts or picnics or parties or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the Plainbelly Sneetches. They left them out cold in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. Then, one day it seems, while the Plainbelly Sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Talk with your families, and what do you think Mr. McBean is going to introduce these Sneetches in this moment of need? Then, quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, You want stars like a Starbelly Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard. So they clamored inside. Then the big machine roared, and it clunked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. So see them going in with their plain bellies, and they pop on out, and now they have a star on their belly. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties. Good grief, groaned the ones who had stars at the first. We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know? They all frowned. If which kind is what, or the other way around. Can you tell the difference between these two sets? No, they all have stars upon their bellies now. And the ones that had the stars before don't like that the ones now have stars on their bellies. What are your thoughts on that? Then up came McBean with a very sly wink. And he said, things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That is perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you, again, the best Sneetches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches. Belly stars are no longer in style, said McBean. What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like Sneetches who have them on theirs. And that handy machine worked very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. So as you can see, those Sneetches that had stars on their belly originally went into the machine, and now they came out with no stars on their bellies. Then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout. We know who is who. Now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without. Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guess, things really got into a horrible mess. All the rest of that day on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money. They kept running through, until neither the plane nor the Starbellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Look at all the Sneetches. It's going round and round, in and out of the machine. And what is the one thing that you notice about Mr. Sylvester McMonkey McBean? Talk about that with your families. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed it up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They never will learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch. Where are all those Sneetches? At this moment, after all of that and not knowing who is who anymore, look at them. How do you think they're feeling now? But McBean was quite wrong. I'm quite happy to say that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day, all the Sneetches forgot about stars and whether they had one or not upon theirs. Look at the end of the day, they realized that they all had differences and they were willing to accept those differences. And no one Sneetch was the best kind of Sneetch, because at the end of the day, a Sneetch is still just a Sneetch. Just like we, at the end of the day, are still just a person or a human. And at the end of the day, we need to accept all of our differences, whether we think they're good or they're bad, but you've got to accept the fact that they're mostly good. We have a lot of great differences that we should be accepting. Hair color, eye color, personality, lots of things, how we are in school. There are a lot of positives that we can find. And that's why this story is important when we think about acceptance. Not only acceptance of our own selves and our differences, but acceptances of others and their differences too. Because remember, no two people are the same. I want you to talk about this with your family. I want you to talk about acceptance of self, and I want you to talk about acceptance of others and how it makes you feel when other people don't accept you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I miss you all very, very dearly, and I look forward to be able to talk to you all soon.